Well, good morning again, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 2 of the Dumpster Runners podcast. Today, I am joined by my friend and fellow dumpster runner, Clay Lane. I have been interacting with Clay for years online, but this past May, I got to meet him at the Docket User Summit, which was cool. Clay is the owner of Hickory Dumpster Rentals out of Canton, Texas, which is not too far from Dallas. Welcome to the podcast, Clay. If you would please tell us a little bit more about yourself, your business, and how long you've been in operation.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for having me on. Like he said, I'm Clay, owner of Hickory Dumpster Rentals in Canton, Texas. We currently, we launched in April of 23. Started out with a dump trailer, and about a month later, we went and got our first roll-off package because we were already losing customers. So we started off with a setup with three dumpsters, and then August of that year we added two more because we were already booked out nonstop. And then now to date we have one truck and trailer with 13 dumpsters.
Very
Uh,
nice.
we started off with a Max D trailer, and this past year, or I guess July, we transitioned to Keystone's setup, standard rail setup with their new 16-foot trailer.
Yep. And you are I believe, the first one to get the 16-footer from
I
Keystone.
am, it all happened because of the Docket Summit. Speaking with them up there and whatever, and talking with Bram and Don, I told them I was going to place a big dumpster order with them, which 13 dumpsters to me is big. And
Sure.
and they were like, "Well, why are you not buying our trailer?" I was like, "Well, it's simple. Y'all have a 16-foot trailer, and I want a 16-foot trailer." And then he's like, "Yeah, we don't have that." And about an hour later, they're like, "Hey, we've been thinking about doing that, but what if we do it for you and you can put it on the market for us and we can start production of it?" So thankfully, going to that Docket Summit, networking with people, and lo and behold, they're only about 2 hours from me here in Texas. So made it super easy, great partnership, and that trailer is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Bram and Don, I've been chatting with now for probably 2 or 3 years. I met them for the first time when I went and did Dumpster Runners out in Dallas for the first year.
Mhm.
Really good people, really great product. I think their trailer is really well built. Looking at it for the first time, I was really quite impressed with just kind of the refinement aspects of it. And coming from my Texas Pride trailer at the time, where it's like they find the easiest way to make something happen versus Keystone look like they put the thought into like, all right, I want to have the shortest amount of hose from here to here and the fittings all run precisely and clean and not sloppy and it's just well engineered from an overall vibe standpoint. So I think they did a really good job there. So let's back up for a second though. You started with just one dump trailer or did you graduate into the 2, 3, 4 category?
No, I just have one, man. I had a 16-foot. It was a 14-yard dump trailer, and I was renting it out. I had a couple like week rentals immediately, and that's when I was losing customers already. So yeah, before I was watching the pages, and everybody's like, "Well, just go to a roll-off package because you're going to have more axles, more tires, more brakes if you just keep adding dump trailers." And although it was a big amount up front, it made sense to me to not have all those extra fees added with it. So yeah, I went with that dump trailer and straight to a roll-off package. Yeah.
Yeah, the dump trailers. If you could get a roll off bin and a dump trailer for the same price, dump trailers are awesome. Really like
Yeah.
them. But now they're just so expensive. I mean, you're spending 10 grand for something decent and 15 or 20 for something
Mhm.
real nice.
Yeah.
Plus, you have all the difficulty of the rubber tire and the registration and more axles and
Exactly. Yeah.
more pumps. Your batteries are going to fail all the time. So,
You just double or
um,
triple everything. Depends on how many you go with.
yep. Yeah, a lot, and also way higher risk of theft, which is, it's like another thing to consider. You can get a dumpster stolen as well, but they gotta both have the ambition to do it and the equipment to pick it up and know where it's at. So it just requires a little bit longer checklist versus the dump trailer is kind of one of those like, well, I'm driving my pickup truck and I see a hitch, and it's like,
Yeah.
there we go.
You
So,
just go hook right up to it. Yeah. So
so
yeah, no,
you started with the dump trailer, moved up to the Max D. How long did you run the Max D trailer for?
right at a little over 2 years.
Okay, so you
Yes, sir.
definitely got your worth out of it. Put in some
Yep.
work.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I did.
May of 23, and then we got our Keystone stuff in July of 25. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. Mine's
Yeah.
funny enough because mine was almost exactly 2 years as well for the Texas Pride.
Hmm.
I got that end of December in 22 and or no, 20 end of December in 20, was it 22? Either way, the evolution ended up coming in at like 1 year and 11 months
Yeah.
was when I did the transition. I would say 3, 4 years is a real good time frame to kind of get dialed in on something before you make the jump to the next thing. I actually ran my dump trailers for a while longer than you. I had them for a year and a quarter, give or take.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of experience with the dump trailers. Granted, I had three of them, not one. You can't make any money with one. You can
Yeah.
keep
No.
yourself busy and lose money with one.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you pretty much have to get to the point of three, unless you're like a junk removal company or you're doing lawn and landscape, something like that. Then one dump trailer could kind of pay for itself. But I tell guys all the time, it, when you're doing dumpsters by itself, the game comes with inventory. It's
Yeah.
like you have to have the ability to drop something and pick it up and drop it again and do that over and over and over. And the reality is it's very difficult to rent the same, whether it's a dump trailer or dumpster, more than twice a week.
Yeah.
So if you figure you have one of anything, you're pretty much only going to be able to do that 6 to 8 times a month. If you're really, really, talented at selling people on short term, or you're doing the physical loading yourself, stuff like that, you can make money, but you're not making money with 6 to 10 turns a month. It's just not financially going to pay for the insurance and the truck expense and the time and the fuel and the
Yeah.
so
I went with that starting out because I told myself that, like, hey, if this doesn't work, well, I have myself a nice dump trailer.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we all convince ourselves of ways to add cool things to the lineup, and I
Uh,
still keep one dump trailer to this day. I probably haven't rented it out specifically out of necessity for a month and a half, 2 months, but I did just, we moved into a new house about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I used the dump trailer for moving a lot of the stuff, doing that. And, if I have like a tight neighborhood type job, I'll use the dump trailer. So they have their place. I love them as a concept, but just from a scaling perspective, roll offs just absolutely dominate everything that we're doing. Um, so when you started with the Max D, you were running that. How many bins did you get up to on the Max D side?
we had 10 with the Max
Okay.
D. Well, one of them being a concrete dumpster. Um, I didn't have a concrete dumpster, and I tried to use one of my 14s. And the first concrete drop in there that he was trying to be gentle with it almost put a hole through the sidewall. And I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll go buy me a concrete dumpster, have
Yep.
somebody come finish this job for me. I missed out on about $1,500 on that job, and it was ended up being two dumpsters worth and dump it for free. 5 miles from the guy's house.
Yeah.
So I got a concrete dumpster with it, and then guess what? I never used a concrete dumpster after that until I sold it.
I have pretty good luck with concrete dumpsters. I actually and I was advised not to do it by someone that I trust and respect quite a bit, but it's worked
Yeah,
out well for me. I built my concrete dumpsters to be 7 yards of metal with
mhm,
12 inches of board at the top.
yeah,
So I have a good indicator for like don't go above here for concrete, and for like slab concrete, I won't even let them use this full 7 yards. It just
yeah,
depends on the scope of the job. But what that does open me up to is all that time when I don't have a concrete job, it's still a 10 yard dumpster. So
exactly. Yeah.
and the boards also help protect the top rail,
Mhm.
and it's got a couple other perks other than that. But for the guys doing at the level we are, where it's the under CDL, can't haul a ton of heavy weight all the time, or not going to be booking concrete dumpsters every single week, I found that to be a very valuable addition to the conversation. I think it's just off of concrete jobs alone that I've gotten this year. Those bins have paid for themselves, and then the ability to have those extra couple 10 yarders has been pretty great. So the Max D bins, were you buying Max D brand, or were you going out to other manufacturers to build your new cans?
Yeah, so I bought three initially with the package. So those were three Max D's, and then no, I found a guy in South Dallas, a Arona dumpsters. They were good dumpsters, and they did the job. They lasted me 2 years till I sold them, and I just sold all of my dumpsters to a guy up in Ponder. So they were cheaper than the Max D ones, and I thought they were better built than Max D dumpsters.
Yeah, and Arona's a manufacturer, not another company.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a manufacturer in South Dallas. Yeah.
Awesome. Is he a, because that's honestly, it's not a company I think I've ever heard of. Is he
Yeah.
specifically doing dumpsters, or is it just a metal fabrication shop that
He's
does?
a metal fabrication shop that
Okay,
I think his sister does roll offs for their roofing or something like that that they
gotcha.
do. And he started making them, and you know, I was new and I found them and went with them to start with, and I mean they did the job for me. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I've found, I mean, even on the lower end of manufacturing shops, if you're actually getting someone who does welding and fabrication, the
hmm
dumpsters are just so much better built than what you're typically going to find out there. And that's
yeah,
not even a direct diss to Max D. It's just kind of the proprietary, more cookie cutter mass production side of things.
yeah,
The metal fabrication shops just typically use thicker gauge steel. Their welders are a little more focused on being good welders, and fantastic changeover going to, for me, Evolution, but all the big companies, the Evolutions, the Keystones, the Matcores, in your case, Arona, all the guys that do that on a more serious level, from a fabrication standpoint, is the way to go.
yeah. And now these Keystone dumpsters are they're stout too, and
Yeah.
they weigh more than those other ones that did. So I kind of with this new setup, I'm down to probably especially my 25 yarders, because when I went to the 16 footer, I added 25 yarders,
Yep.
and I'm probably right around 4 ton with those Max D's and the Rona dumpsters. I could run up to 5 ton in those, but with just how
You're
much more
talking
space.
about legal payload.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, with the weight of everything, like what we can carry inside the dumpster, is about 4 ton now, which is fine. There's those dumpsters are just going to be more durable. You know the
Sure. Yeah,
um,
you got to be a little cautious when you get into like the 20s and the 25s for
yeah,
construction projects, but realistically, having the thicker gauge steel a little bit heavier, will more often be a positive than a negative. And the other thing that, guys don't always understand is a lot of the fabrication shops, when you talk to a Keystone, and Evolution, and Mac, they have like their economy class and then their heavy duty class, or whatever kind of naming that they want to throw out there for those packages. Because a lot of guys, you might buy a 20-yard bin and put it on a Peterbilt truck, not necessarily a trailer. So if you do want to save that 500, maybe 1,000+ pounds between cans, make sure you're ordering the right cans for the setup that you're looking to operate with. And the crazier part is, when you're loading, like concrete slab and dropping big heavy stuff into a bin, you could definitely blow out sides. But even like the economy grade built through a fabrication shop, they're fantastic dumpsters. And as long as you're not dropping giant boulders from 5 feet up in the air, they hold up really well too. For especially for loading in a driveway, light construction, remodel, residential clean out, that kind of stuff. They're more than fine to do the job. And then if you do want to jump up to the, dual tandem axle, 60+ thousand gross vehicle weight rating truck, start ordering the heavy duty cans. You got a little extra room to play with on the weight. So, yeah, I think that's a great way to go there. And then the Keystone side, where's your mind been as far as like going from Max D to standard rail? I know rail's probably a little bit of a change, not the biggest change on the planet. You're still picking up and putting down a dumpster. But for anyone who doesn't really understand, the Max D uses what I call a cradle system. So it actually puts the dumpster inside, almost like an L frame on each side, and you slide in it. A standard rail dumpster takes two giant, it's like an 8-inch thick rail, one to go inside, one to go outside, that's for the dumpster itself, and then slides that on top of a roller system. So, just a little bit different of a design style. Do you notice any really weird quirks, or like, oh, I didn't, expect this when I changed over to standard rail, anything like that?
not really. My driver adapted to it pretty quick, and he He says it's actually kind of easier to pick those up than it was the Max D ones.
Yeah,
Um, and you know, with this new system that we went to, it's also a reading system compared to the Max D. It's just a
electric
electric
winch.
hoist and
Yeah.
winch. You know, I mean, it's a hydraulic hoist, but it's got the electric winch on it, and that was a game changer. How
Oh
fast
yeah.
the new system moves. I mean,
It's
it's a
crazy.
good chunk of change for it, right? Compared to the two, but man, like just the safety factor of it, and the speed of it and the strength of it is just it's worth every penny to get a reading system for sure.
Yeah, and then pulling the winch out of the equation, like winches
Mhm.
will fry themselves pretty frequently. I mean, I've even seen, you cross a couple wires, they start fires, clutches
Mhm.
go out, the cable is thinner, more likely to snap. Like there's a lot of untalked about aspects of the difference between winch and reeving, but really just on the bare bones side of I like the consistency of a gas power system is huge. You guys probably haven't experienced any real crazy surge from work standpoint, but having a reeving system when I was going through like the hurricanes here, where I'm waking up at 5 in the morning, there was one day of the hurricanes right before the second one came through. I worked a 26 or 28 hour straight shift. Like I napped at one point for 30 minutes at like 3 in the morning in my sister's backyard, just sitting in the truck. And I woke back up and got back to it. But I literally started from 5 in the morning and the dump was open 24 hours, just preparing for this hurricane to come through. I did not want to have a single dumpster sitting out in a driveway when the second one came. And I made it my goal. I think I was running, it was like 12 of them at the time. I made it my goal to get all 12 picked up, emptied, put away for safety. And knowing that put gas in it and it's going to run.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
it's really that simple. When you get into the battery systems and the electric winches, there
Mhm.
is going to be a time, even if you're plugged into the truck running off the battery, that you may not have the juice to get that one picked up, and that is detrimental to efficiency and making sure things are going smoothly. So
It's a big game changer from having to worry about if there's dead batteries or, I mean, the Honda motor can still have a dead battery, but it has a pull start on it. Worst case
yeah,
scenario, so it's not like a key starting it. So no matter what, you're going to run it if you got fuel. And so other than that, I mean, only difference we keep a spare gallon or so of hydraulic fluid in there just in case. You never know when leaks happen, fittings come loose. That's really about your only worries with that system. So it's
yep.
nice.
Yeah, even on my two Evolution trailers, and I got one after the fact for the Texas Pride, which helped. But Evolution makes theirs with the solar panel by default up on the neck, and I think had to charge the batteries twice in the entire year I've had it, just because it stays pretty consistently charged even when it's stored. And then the truck is also adding some trickle charge to it. So charging has not been an issue. Dead batteries for even starting have not been an issue. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of standard rail reeving. I think that is by and large the better way to go. And in reality, the other side of that is when you look at pricing, typically the same trailer, non-reeving or reeving, is about a $6,000 difference. But if you go non-reeving, no matter what, it never increases the value of equipment, but you still have the winch that will die on you. It's not a question of if, it's a when. Will die on you between 1 and 3 years of regular use. If you're using it all day, every day, probably more on the 1 year side. If you're using it on occasionally, you're a side hustle kind of guy, you might get 3 years out of it. But that winch alone is going to be $1,500, $2,500. You're also dealing with downtime. You're having to ship things, so um, even if you save the money, don't buy reeving, it would be wise of you to buy a second winch to leave on the shelf, because one day of lack of operation might cost you more than the winch anyway. And when you look at it that way, it's like, I mean, you're halfway there. You might as well, you might as well have just upgraded to the reeving off of just one winch replacement. Not to mention there's more batteries because most of them run in a 2 or 3 series battery uh, configuration. When you do the reeving system, you have typically either one starter battery for the gas motor and another larger battery for the tarp, or in Evolution's case, they combine them so it's just one battery. I could stop at the store, replace it for, 100, $200 and be back on the road if it dies, versus your electric winch, you might have to go spend $300 to $600 replacing the same series of batteries to keep you on the road. So, yeah, I think financially speaking, it does cost more up front, but it is so worthwhile for the reeving system, just off of even the logical math side, not talking about even the consistency and the power side of it as well. The only negative is it's a little noisy, but
It can
I'm
be. That's what my driver's like. Can I still go pick up early in the mornings and wake people up? I was like, we'll just make sure we notify them. Like, we'll be there early. And if they hear it, they don't have to think it's one of their cars or something starting up.
yeah, and I'll throttle down and it's pretty quiet. It does
Yeah.
go considerably slower, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can start the motor, throttle it to basically minimum,
Hmm.
and you're going to stand there for 5, 10 times longer while the rails lift and the cable goes out. But you could still do that at 5, 6 in the morning and not alert all the neighbors and piss everybody off while you're
Exactly. I mean, it's
doing it.
just ultimately it sounds like a lawnmower is what it really is. But yeah,
Yep,
just idle it down and try to be as quiet as possible. And we haven't had any complaints yet, so we're gonna keep
for
rolling.
sure. And another kind of like weird perk of it is that I've seen cases where guys will have the electric system and accidentally push a button or stuff starts operating when it's not meant to be, versus the gas motor. It's like, I can't lift the rails unless I get out and start the motor,
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
rails not going nowhere, cable's not going anywhere. I'm not worried about hitting a button on my remote while I'm driving or pushing up against it while I'm up, it's all that is resolved. I get out, I start it, I run it. Life is good.
Yep.
So Keystone also does a thing which I really appreciate, in that they mount the motor in between the gooseneck, so you have nice, easy access. I know coming
Yes.
from my Texas Pride up on the gooseneck was pretty miserable, versus the people that are putting it between the gooseneck jacks and stuff like that. Much easier to fuel, much easier to start, very convenient to get to
Yeah.
deal with oil changes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, no, it's super easy access. They have a cover built over for it. I mean, just slip it back. You can access everything right there. Nice for refilling it and not having to climb up in the gooseneck to refill it.
yeah.
um, but yeah, it's nice having it low like that.
And how's your experience been with the 25 yarders now, adding that into the equation?
Man, it's really good. I'm trying to keep them residential only because of the weight aspect of it. And I say that because the reason why I went to one, you said you went to 25s on a 16-foot trailer, and I was like, hey, that's interesting because I have so many people call me, hey, I want a 30 yarder. Sorry, man, all I have is a 20. And like, oh, it's not big enough. And I was like, maybe that can be my selling point, right? And since I've had these for 2 months, I've already had about 5 of those sales come through. They're like, hey, I want a 30. I was like, well, I got a 25 yarder for you today. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. So as a sales aspect of it, it's only 5 yards less, and that's what they see, and they're like, "Yeah, let's try it." Weight
Well,
wise, uh, one we just had the other day, he had two 25 yarders, and they were both under 2 ton to the top at a house.
yep.
We had one that we have a roofing contractor, commercial roofing contractor that uses all the time, and he's like, "Hey man, I have a bunch of old insulation stuff at the shop. Can I have one of those 25 yarders?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's do that." He's like, "I'll throw some shingles on top to help hold the insulation down." And I mean, I don't know what all they threw in there. That one was that 25 yarder full there was 4 ton. And so still not even that bad. Now, obviously, we're not going to put that one on a job site when they're doing a full tear off.
Yep.
Um,
But it
but
is really nice for the TPO roofing, which
yeah,
that opens up another nice door for you when it comes to roofing
exactly.
contractors. So
Yeah, they already use me all the time on all their jobs. They switched to me, and told me they're going to use me on everything. So they've been using 20s from me for over a year now. They get several of them a month. We actually just dropped off. Well, we're dropping off one this morning and one tomorrow morning for them on a new job that they just went to. So it's nice. The 25 yarders are working out really good. I was kind of iffy on it because it did take probably 3 or 4 weeks before I sold one. So I say sold one to a customer.
yeah.
Um, but since then, they're getting rented out 20 is obviously the most popular, but those 25s are starting to go.
Yeah, I found that every time I try and dial in like what's my bread and butter, I
Hmm.
get surprised the next week because
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
like one time I'm sitting there and it's like I cannot keep a 10-yard can to save my life. My big cans aren't going anywhere, and then the next day all my big cans are gone and my tens are all sitting there not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's I think there's little bits of ebbs and flows, and it could be like how I'm marketing or the clients I'm attracting with the things that I'm doing. But the reality is having options is beneficial, and having the 25s, they have way beyond paid for the like expense of adding them.
Hmm.
Because I have unlocked so many customers that would not use me otherwise,
Yeah.
and they also become very valuable, especially for the residential side, where it's like here's actually a great sales topic for people that are entertaining 25s is
Hmm.
that when you start looking at 30-yard dumpsters, the typical 30-yard dumpster is run at 20 or 22 foot long
Hmm.
versus your 25 yard on a 16-foot rail being 16-foot long might be 4 or 6 feet shorter than the average 30 someone's going to find. When you get into a residential driveway, it's might be a little bit easier in a more rural location, but
Yeah.
for me, where I'm dominated by suburbia, majority residential driveways do not comfortably fit a 20 or 22-foot dumpster.
Yeah.
Now, there are situations where you can lay it sideways across the yard, or you can cater to a clientele base that has longer driveways. That's not my point. But your typical, you know, suburban neighborhood might fit a 16-foot comfortably, and even that might be tight versus the 20 or 22-foot. So when I get the calls where it's like, I need a residential 30, you can give your price and educate the customer on the fact that it's like, hey, bear in mind when you make these phone calls, that 30-yard dumpster that's just a little bit bigger than my 25, probably going to be very difficult to fit in that driveway. It's probably going to take them a lot longer to do a swap out or to service you if you need a second one. And most residential projects that need a 25 probably need two 25s, quite frankly, because
Hmm.
once you get to the beyond 20, it's typically like, this is a big job and I need to get
Yeah.
a lot of stuff out.
Yeah.
So it's genuinely, even if I did offer 30s, it's still a valuable tool that's very overlooked by the industry because most people do 10, 15, 20 under CDL and 30, 40 above CDL, where 25 is that weird middle ground that most people aren't servicing.
Yeah.
And I have found it to be a very valuable asset to the operation.
Yeah, you're definitely playing the game with the non-CDL and CDL with that 25. But I mean, if you just, and you never know what a residential customer is going to put in there, even though they have contracts, you talk to them, tell them this can't go in there. Some of them still do it, but for the most part, I mean, I'm staying under CDL weight with that 25 yarder full.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, the residential side, I mean, it's honestly even rare that I go above 2 tons. When
hmm.
they start getting into the residential with a little bit of like, here's some wood from the garage, and
Yeah.
maybe we cut down a tree in the backyard, there's a little bit of log in there. Some of those might push 2.5, 3 tons, but even my contractor 25s, I would say it's rare they go above 4 tons. So you do need to be wise. A little bit of that is in your initial, like, what is and isn't allowed conversation. Like, if
Right.
I have someone request a 25 for construction or, thing along those lines, even my 20s, I start asking questions and it's like, is this a stucco job or is this a drywall job? It's like those two things, very different weights. When you get into the general construction, I'm taking down some walls, I'm doing a small bathroom, I'm doing a small kitchen. Most 25s are not going to exceed that 3.5, 4 ton range.
Yeah.
And the ones that will exceed it, if you're not asking those questions, even with a 20-yard dumpster, you could be overweight. So
Well, 100% could
it's
be
not that the
overweight.
25 is a dangerous spot to be in. It's in your presentation and what you do or don't allow your customers to use. Are you still with me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm there.
Yeah, you started
I don't know what
you
was
started
happening
to cut
there.
out there for a second. But yeah, so I would say if you have the ability to run a 25, it's it's a valuable thing. But if you also want to stay smaller side, a lot of this industry is weird in the sense that you can be a very niche specific company and do really good. I don't know if you guys have them out there, but Griffin Waste is 10-yard dumpsters only. That it's a very small dumpster in my opinion, but
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those like somebody figured out this is our formula, this is our process, this is our only size, which I'm sure makes logistics very simple. You don't have to
Yeah.
think about picking up the right size, dropping off the right size kind of factors.
Yeah.
And they have a whole business model that's a national franchise. Been there, dumped that, kind of same thing. Basically like two truck types, dumpsters between 10 and 20 yards. They're
Mm-hmm.
not interested in 25s. So, um, yeah, figuring out what works for you is important, but I've found that doing the 10 to 25 ranges worked out
Yeah.
pretty well for me.
I've thought about getting rid of my 15s, but I only have three of them. I mean, they stay rented out. And I thought about going to all 20s before I had the 25s. This was when I was still max D. I thought about just selling the 14s I had, just doing all 20s because they were rented out a lot. And it would just make life so much easier not having to go back to the yard just to get a 15 and then going to a customer's house. I know there's a guy local to me, about 30 minutes south of me. I don't know him real well, only talked a couple times, but he told me he runs only 30s. He's like, man, it is the best decision he ever made
30s
because I never
30s
have to
is a
think
good
about it.
size though, because you're
Yeah.
probably running a big enough truck to handle whatever
Well,
weight gets thrown at you, and then
yeah,
it's
he's
just
he's running
real
a
nice and
Peter. I mean,
simple.
he's running nice Peterbilts, right? So he is CDL,
Yeah.
like, but he said the best thing for him was just to stay 30 yarders.
Yep.
And if somebody makes a phone call and I got an empty one, hey, I'm going to their house right then and there. Don't even
Exactly.
have to think about where to go or if I have one of this size available while this one. It's not the end of the world having multiple sizes, but I've it's crossed my mind to just go on 20s just to see. Um,
Yeah, I think 20s is a very versatile size. My only concern with doing only 20s is you start getting into like it's hard to service roofers
mhm,
reasonably. I have found roofers because of the style of industry. The person that books the dumpster is typically not the person managing the job, and that's also not the person loading the dumpster. So now you're
mhm,
three layers of people away from who paid and who's doing, and that becomes problematic. So if you only drop 20s, you either have to make the decision of A, I'm not going to work with roofers, or B,
yeah,
just anticipate occasionally you're going to be overweight. Occasionally you're going to have, issues that you have to overcome.
yeah,
And if you keep 20s and let's say you do 10s and 20s, I feel like there's a big void from what's moderate to what's your large. So if
mhm,
I did if I did go to 20s, I'd probably not do 10s or 15s and I'd keep like 12s.
yeah,
Because with a 12, you can do a pretty reasonably sized roof. You could always do swap outs if you need to. You can still take, like, my 10 yards are great for stucco jobs. I actually did a pretty giant one uh, early summer, and it was like filled to the top, nice and even. Every one of them was right around 4 or 5 tons.
yeah,
And those were big money makers for me. I love that job because most guys couldn't get into the job site unless they were running small cans like mine, but most guys running small cans like mine can't lift the weight or can't legally haul, that
mhm,
heavy of a dumpster. So I think that worked out well. 12, you're probably opening the door to a little bit of potential problem. But you start getting into like trying to do a stucco job with a 20-yard dumpster. You can hope and pray that they
mhm,
stop at whatever spray
yeah,
painted line you put in there. But I just feel like the concept of this is my 20-yard that I use for everything and here's the line to stop at is great when you have a relationship, but if you're getting blind phone calls, I mean
yeah,
you're going to be dealing with so many headache customers that just don't follow the rules, or even if they're great, their crew's not, or there's just
yeah,
so many potentials for issues. But now having the reeving system, probably stronger than your previous trailer was. It's
yeah.
just making sure you stay a little bit on the lower side of weight to keep it legal at the same time. So,
Exactly. And that's a benefit too about going to the standard rails is there's a guy in town that I talk to multiple times a week and he has a CDL set up. So if I get in a situation that I can't lift a dumpster because it's too heavy or that I'm like, hey, I'm going to be way overweight on this. The trailer's probably still going to lift it, but I'm going to be way overweight. Well, I just call him, have him handle it, and the one off that it does that.
And that is the
Before I have
beauty
to,
of collaboration, my friend.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's honestly like going standard rail was big for me for that. And then that's another reason I do combo cans. I actually built, so when you do combination cans, it's not just here's a cable attachment, here's a hook attachment. You
Mhm.
also have to think about where your tabs are getting placed because every hook has a slightly different style
Exactly.
of how they hold the rear end of the dumpster down. I actually built my cans, which I believe this will be the hoist that I go with. It's a Palfinger T29M. But I built my cans with a buddy of mine's hook lift specs because at the end of the day, if I don't go that route, I'll cut the tabs off, re-weld tabs, or maybe get like
That's simple.
the hydraulic clamps. But at
Yeah,
least they're there and ready to go. And
yeah,
if I do get into a pinch, this is a person that I can call on and be like, "Hey, go pick up this dumpster. It's a little heavier than I wish it was," or even, "Hey, I don't have the ability to do this job today. Can you do it?" And if the answer is yes, but I don't have a can available, it's like, all right, go by my yard, grab the dumpster,
exactly.
that kind of thing. So you just build these layers of redundancy. Now I have truck A goes down, I have truck B. Trailer A goes down, I have trailer B. Can
Mhm.
is unavailable for me for whatever reason, or I can't get to the job, call the buddy. So
Yeah,
when you build out the network, and shout out Dumpster Runners Network, when you when you collaborate with other people, just makes this industry so much nicer.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
mean,
really love that side of things.
we had a trailer win the other day because they always talk about how trucks are so much better, which I'm sure they are for CDL stuff, But that same guy that I was talking about, he called me for help the other day, and you might have saw it on my Facebook. It was just a muddy situation, and he with the dumpster on his truck, he was just spinning tires, couldn't get out. I guess he tried for a while, multiple options, and couldn't get it done. And I was able to come in there with a trailer, and I didn't have to get my tires off the ground or off the road. Honestly, my truck tires
Yeah,
was able to pull it out for him. I mean, it took me 30 minutes of my time to go swing by there, do that, and get it out or whatever. And it's just a benefit of same equipment and networking.
for sure. So
Yeah.
let's take a slightly different angle. We didn't even touch on it yet. Your primary job is not actually dumpsters.
No, it's not.
So you are a full-time fireman, right? It's not like part-time or
No, it's full time.
yeah,
Yeah.
full-time fireman for your city.
hmm
And how has that affected the way you approach the business and kind of the way you handle things?
I mean, starting out when I was by myself, I was working a 24/48 schedule. And man, I was running nonstop. I'd be at the station for 24 hours, and then whether I slept that night or not, woke up with the trailer and the dumpster at the station with me, and went straight to doing work there for 2 days and back to it. I wouldn't say. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was a struggle. I did lose some rentals because of that because I needed it that day, and I didn't have a driver at the time. Um, but once I added a driver, I mean, there was nothing to it, man, because I could still answer the phone while I was at the station. Because I wasn't a rookie or anything like that, so I could basically do whatever I wanted there, and had the phone on me all the time. Hired my driver. I'd say I hired a driver. I guess January of 24, so 8 months or so after I opened up, I hired a driver because I was getting to the point that I needed all the days of the week to work. And when I got busy enough where I was losing too many customers on the days that I was at the station, so I took the hit of hiring the driver, and it was probably the best thing I ever could have done because it made me step back and look and focus on other areas to grow versus being
Sure.
in the truck every single day.
And
Yeah.
now you're pretty much not driving dumpsters like at
Oh,
all.
I haven't
Pull in where you
drove.
need to,
Uh,
and
I haven't drove since January 24,
nice.
unless if they need a day off or whatever for some reason. I mean, I'm real flexible with them. So which I have a new driver. He got on November or December of 24. And the other one, he went to fire academy himself. I think I kind of talked him into that, and I shot myself in the foot on that one. Lost my driver,
Yep,
but thankfully found a really good one before he left. And he rode with him for a couple weeks for training wise, whatever. And so yeah, I mean, I've drove a handful of times since I hired one, and it's been the best thing I could have done.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot myself where it's like getting a driver in place, and I don't have another job, so this is like
Yeah.
my main focus, my bread and butter. There are a lot of days where I sit back and go, I could have been out there doing this. But
Hmm.
it also, when you look at the big picture of life and kind of what my goals and ambitions are, I have so many things that get neglected by me being in a truck. So having the ability to just bite the bullet and accept, yes, I'm spending money on a thing that otherwise I could be doing myself, but
Hmm.
I get to focus my energy on improving this, develop the systems, develop relationships, go out and do more networking in the community. Um, I think in the long run, it will absolutely just blow the socks off of everything when it comes to benefit versus cost. It's
Hmm.
just taking that initial bite and stomaching the fact that you're now having to delegate rather than perform. And we're we're coming out of a slower time of the year, which is a little rough. I onboarded him just before things started to take that end of summer dip.
Yeah.
And that part's been a little bit more of a struggle because revenue wise, July was a touch lower and August was a touch lower than the rest of the year has been. Um,
Hmm.
but even on days where it's like I don't have a crazy amount of stuff going on, I still have him come in and I still force myself to cut that paycheck because I don't
Yeah.
want to develop this weird habit of like, oh, just take the day off. I'm going to do it. It's like, no, Joe,
Yeah.
you've committed. Driver is here. Find another thing, improve the business, improve relationships, you know, do stuff that benefits the long run, not today.
Yeah.
So,
And for me, it even came down to the aspect of, because the whole reason I started the side business was because I was working overtime all the time, and just I was missing too much time with my daughter, who was just born in June of 22. So I was missing a lot of stuff because I was at the station and then driving for 2 days at the station, driving for 2 days. So that driver hiring the driver, just the fact of being able to step back and look at it business wise was nice, but the big picture of it was I got to spend more time with my family,
so you're
and that's a
you're doing it
huge
all
deal.
wrong though. I threw a car seat in the back of the truck. I opened up Maxco Daycare for. Unfortunately for me, I got three of them, so
Yeah,
I can never give my full attention or my wife full relief from my armada of children.
yeah,
But with one, I mean, you could give
yeah,
mama the day off, ride around with the baby in the back.
yeah.
So
Well, she rode with me some for sure, but it was just it's still nice to have that time back.
there was
Uh,
a stretch which it slowed down a lot this year because I got beyond busy to have a kid in the back seat. It's like doing a 30-minute drive to a
yeah.
pickup and 30-minute drive back is reasonable. You just fill them up with snacks and play some music, have
Mhm.
a good time. But once you start getting into those, like I leave at 7 or 8 in the morning and I'm not coming home till 4, 5, 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
it becomes a little more difficult. They don't quite appreciate hanging out with
No,
dad quite
no,
as
and my
much.
my head doesn't like that screaming either. Get
Yeah.
headaches.
So, but yeah, I mean, in general, that's awesome. I'm happy you guys got that going on for you. It's a very weird position to be in at your size and kind of as early into the industry as you are. But obviously, if you do it right and you do it over the long run, you're going to be a better business owner because of it. And you've still put in your reps. You've experienced what it looks like in reality to do the job, which is, I think, another big important aspect. You bought the dump trailer, you bought the roll off package, you ran the dumpsters, you hustled for the some days on, some days off, and
Yeah,
now you've put someone else in the seat and
yeah,
kind of can be the puppet master rather than the performer of the service.
yeah.
So what would you say is kind of like your biggest generator of leads and kind of marketing side of the business? How are you guys coming across your customers? Where are you finding them? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, one big one is we are part of a local BNI, so that's when we get customers from there. But we do Google Ads and SEO. Um,
Do them
before
yourself or you hire a company?
uh, I could probably do it myself if I researched it, but no, I just hire somebody who was in our BNI group,
Okay.
and they control it all for us, whatever. And I tried to get away from Google Ads at one point because they were just costing too much money, and per lead because it was just a slow time of the year. It was in July. We kind of had a weird year too. July and August kind of took a dip, and I wasn't expecting that. But I stopped the Google ads for about 2 months and realized that they were probably doing more than what we thought they were, whether their analytics were wrong or whether their timing was just perfect for it to just completely phase out like that. But so we went back to doing Google ads, and businesses picked back up. I would like to get to the point to not do Google ads because I know I mean, it's expensive, but it's still worth it right now. Um, Other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm making contacts with contractors around. Um, I would say our primary customer base is residential people. Um, I'm trying to really focus this last half of the year to get in the contractor world, um, for those to help me through the slow months, like the winter months while they're
Sure.
still working and residential people aren't. Not that we have winters here really, but people don't spend money around Christmas time or New Year's because they're all traveling and Christmas, So the contractors still spend money. So I'm trying to get into that. Whether it's through the contractors that use me now, getting me in touch with their buddies that they work with, which has happened a couple of times. But yeah, just doing that, trying to get more known in the community. I was talking to you, I don't know if it was on Facebook or text, but about trying to just focus on branding right now. Um, I get calls all the time. Oh, I see your trucks everywhere, which we only have one truck, but they think it's multiple, But the big blue dumpsters, and how clean they always are and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to really focus on ways to get into the community, my local community more, whether doing the t-shirts deal, handing out t-shirts or whatever. I mean, we got the parades coming up, the holiday parades that they always do. I think I'm probably going to order a bunch of t-shirts. I mean, it's expensive, but and just throw them out there, and get people to start wearing them around town and everything and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the brand is not something that should be top of focus when you first get started, but
Hmm.
it should become top of focus well before you're very established. Because
Hmm.
if it's something you put too much energy into on the front end, you're not going to be successful just because brand doesn't bring you money today, it brings you money tomorrow.
Hmm.
So you do like coming out the gates, you got to find work. You got to find people that are willing to give you dollars for your dumpster to sit in a driveway. But if you go, 3, 4, 5+ years and brand never becomes focused, you end up hurting yourself by becoming successful, which is a kind of weird spot to be in because you convince yourself that brand is no longer important because you know, I've done good up to this point and I just got this generic dumpster with this generic truck and people still know me really well. And there are people that have built dynasties under very simplistic terms. They don't all have big flashy mascots and logos and colors, but
Yeah.
I think the current clientele, the average customer today, is much more invested into research, and a strong brand brings you top of mind when it is time for them to make that decision. So honestly, make it easy for people to remember who you are, is
Hmm.
big. And then the separation between you and your competitors is only going to get more and more fierce the farther we get along the line with social media and kind of the modern climate of things. Even having a unique color isn't enough to just stand out anymore because now there's guys that are doing two unique colors. And,
Hmm.
it's like having a nice logo isn't even enough to stand out because now the next guy's got a giant logo and a giant mascot to go with it. And social media has made it free for everyone to post as much stuff and put in front of as many people as they want, which is great. Free advertising is awesome, but now the pool of competition doing the same thing that you are, if you're on the low end of just doing the bare minimum, there are so many people out there that are working harder than you, and you just have to accept that until you become the guy that is nonstop, all day, every day, hammer down. Branding is going to be that thing that kind of sets you apart and allows the ship to really float. So I'm
Yeah.
huge on brand. I've even changed. I've kept the core of my brand pretty similar throughout, but I've even changed brand throughout. So I've always done green as my primary color, green, black, white. And then I've changed logo 2 or 3 different times, finally added the mascot raccoon, and I have people that'll connect with me even having never met me but know of the raccoon, and we have this like bond just
Yeah.
because of it. There's a lady here. Her husband actually, I think it might be boyfriend. I take that back, but owns a really big lawn and landscape, like higher end commercial side of lawn and landscape. I could drive down the road right now, see 20 of their trucks before the day's
Yeah.
over. Like they're that big. She owns a rescue that does like they'll rescue squirrels and raccoons and stuff like that.
Mhm.
She is constantly tagging me and stuff, and anytime I post stuff, she'll post little gifts with raccoons in it, and it's like,
Yeah.
I've never even met her before. I've met her husband, but just having that little connection is just a fun way to interact with the community. And I even on the t-ball side of things, I had my second week of practice this past week. I wore one of the standard Maxco shirts. My second week, I was wearing the Dumpsters in the Desert shirt that doesn't have the raccoon. And one of the kids is like, where's the raccoon shirt? It was one of those like, it's
Yeah.
even in one visit, I in his mind, my brand was me wearing the
Raccoon.
raccoon shirt. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great testament to just the reality of how branding works through the eyes of a child, which is pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I'm big on brand. Now the BNI side of things, I'm also involved in BNI. I've found it to be very valuable. Um, how big is your chapter, and kind of how heavy into trades are you guys?
Yeah. So well, I was in one chapter down in Cedar Creek, and I launched. Me and my mother-in-law, she was in there too for her business, and we launched a chapter here in Canton, January of this year, or I guess technically December 13th or whatever. But that was kind of holidays. We started out with I think 30 members. I think we're kind of down to like 24, 25 right now. We've had life changes, people leaving and going stuff or whatever. But service wise, we got all the electrical, plumber, um, HVAC, roofing. We don't have a handyman, but we got GCs in there. We got metalwork people in there. So we're pretty. I would say half the room is service industry,
That's
and the
all.
other half is office stuff. But yeah. So we all kind of help each other out, whatever, and give each other work.
And you're your current chapter president, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So your term expires here in a month, or how does?
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
Okay. Are you
Yeah.
looking forward to taking a break, or did you enjoy being the
Well,
center of attention?
actually, my wife is going to fill in the seat full
Okay.
time, because I just switched departments a couple months ago, and my new work schedule is 48 on, 96 off. And so now I would miss 3 consecutive weeks in a row, and then I'm
Yeah.
at meetings for 3 consecutive weeks in a row. And as before, my old department, I could leave at 6 a.m. and be there on time. I can't really cut out early yet at this new place. I probably could, but I don't. So my wife's going to take it over, and I mean, she's got the secretary seat. She's the one that's been subbing for me every week when I'm gone, so they all know her and everything.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, it's freeing up my Tuesday mornings now.
Well, that's kind of like putting the guy in the driver's seat. It's
Yeah,
like you're just taking, granted, it's your wife, so now her
yeah,
time is being taken instead of yours.
yeah,
But finding ways to fill the roles so that you can focus on other things
yeah.
is a benefit. I have heard, I'm incumbent president for our chapter.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I'm only a year and a half into it. I started in May
Yeah,
last year. So I did not anticipate the request quite this
yeah.
early into my BNI career, but I'm a little bit of a social butterfly. So,
Well, I say
um,
you can talk well, and that's what's needed. So
yeah, when they approached me for like next year's leadership type conversations, I was in the like, I will do anything that doesn't require more thought outside of a meeting. And it was like, well, congratulations, you can be the president.
Well,
So
I'll tell you this from my viewpoint. I was VP of the other one, and I was president of this one. The VP has a lot more work than the president does.
way
I'll
more
say
work.
way
Yeah,
more work. So
I
I mean,
feel for VPs. That's where
yeah,
you do all the outside of, BNI meeting, you're sitting there and running reports and doing, and that's,
yeah,
yeah,
man.
I would have flat out laughed and said no thank you if they asked
Yeah,
me for VP. I hardly have time to make sure that I'm there extra early and
To
doing
help.
regular president's duties.
Yeah.
But I'm good with being an MC. I do think it'll be valuable for the business to be a little more front and center of attention. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm pretty excited. But yeah, our
Well,
chapter when I first got in, I think I was member 27 or 28.
yeah.
Our chapter was actually the founding chapter in the area. So it
Hmm.
was founded like 18, 19, 20 years ago, something along those
Yeah.
lines. And we still have a good handful of originating members. It's been up as high as in the 60s. It's been
Yeah.
down as low as in the low 20s. But
Yeah.
we are working our way. I think we're 38 currently. I want to grow it to be in that 45 to 50 range,
Yeah.
and I don't really have much interest in going beyond that. I do think you get to a certain size, it becomes a little too overdone,
Takes too
and
long.
you want to get to that happy medium where everyone's making money, passing a lot of referrals. But I did. It's funny you mentioned the handyman. I actually brought in our handyman. He was one of my invites that turned into a chapter member. He was someone that booked probably 10 dumpsters from me during the hurricanes because his house got
Yeah.
flooded out. And now he's only been in a couple months, maybe a few months, and he's crushing it and booking a lot of dumpsters from me for jobs within the chapter. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you never kind of know where that stuff leads, but it is a nice little journey to get there and see where
Yeah.
it all goes.
Yeah.
So,
And it's super nice for me too. Now I was driving 50 minutes to just go to the chapter. Now I'm driving 10 minutes.
oh,
So
that's
that was a
rough. Yeah, mine's
you know,
like my drive was 5 minutes. Now it's like 7 minutes, and it's like, oh, this is exhausting.
yeah.
Got to leave
Yeah.
even earlier now. So, yeah, well, let's we're starting to push the hour mark. So, where do you see the future of Hickory dumpsters? Where are you guys headed? Do you like the under CDL stuff? Are you looking at trucks for the future? Where's your mind go?
My mind is go big, with like get some Peterbilts or whatever, but logistically, I mean, we're doing it under CDL. Like, why upgrade? Why put those extra expenses if you're doing it the way you are now? There's so many people that are over CDL here, and they can do under CDL stuff too as well, but we're making it work with the under CDL stuff. So 5 years from now, I bet you we're for sure going to be CDL. Probably have a good roll off, 30s and 40s. But for the time being, at least for the next 2 years, we're probably going to stay under CDL, keep growing the way we are. And of course, my equipment now will be able to be used on CDL trucks anyway, so it won't make a difference, other than just adding a truck and some licensing and stuff. Um, I would like to have within 5 years probably be CDL and have two full time drivers would be the goal. That's what I'm shooting for. Or if there's a bigger company that wants to buy me out, I'm never going to turn down a good offer.
For sure.
But yeah.
So, if you could talk to yourself on day one of starting the business with what you know now,
Mhm.
what would you tell yourself?
Um, Standard rail. I mean, I know there's people out there making it work, but I took about probably $7,000 to $10,000 hit just switching over. Um, and it's because I grew the 10 dumpsters or whatever. I should have done it sooner. I just never did. So starting day one, I would go standard rail. Um, Not saying you have to start out reeving because I know it's a big expense, but like you said, it's about six to maybe $10,000 more for the reeving. Like just do that from the start. But I would say standard rail would be the main thing. I started out immediately with Docket. Um, I had done my research. I liked what Docket had to offer, and so from day one, I've had everything tracked. So I wouldn't. There's nothing I would change on that aspect of it because everything I have from day one is tracked in the system. So I didn't start out on paper or nothing like that.
Yeah, I
That
started
that was
Docket
nice.
as well. I get the question all the time of like, well, if I only have 5 dumpsters, should I?
Yeah,
And it's like I literally got 3 dump trailers and signed up for Docket.
yeah,
They were less expensive at the time, but they didn't offer the online booking. So,
yeah,
uh, talking about the back end side of the software as well, night and day, better than Notepad, should save you enough money to warrant the expense. But as soon as they turned on online booking, I upgraded and I have never looked back.
Yeah.
The amount of convenience, especially for a single owner operator, to get a call, like let's say you're on the road, hey, I want a 15-yard dumpster. It's like, I can give you a quote while we talk, but I don't want to have to stop, pull over, take down your information, verify my inventory mentally or on some
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
notepad type of method. The ability to go, I have this many dumpsters, here is the link, book it as soon as you're able, and then I keep driving and life is good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I,
fantastic there as
I
well.
didn't do, I didn't do online booking for the first 2 years. And really, I guess 2.5, because you convinced me to do it at the Docket Summit. I was kind of looking into it, right? But I made the decision after that to do that. So I would say it probably went live. When was the Docket Summit?
May.
April or May?
Yeah,
May.
May.
Probably end of June, maybe 1st of July is when my online booking went live. I've had several of them. I don't know. I get a lot of traffic on there, which I'm sure that's probably every website gets a lot of traffic and doesn't always purchase it or whatever. So I got to figure some stuff out. Um, Figure out why I'm not getting as many online bookings as I want. But I mean, I'm not going back from it. Like, I offer it now and it's there. And
Well,
um,
I think a lot of customers aren't just going to go blindly purchase something like a dumpster. A lot
yeah.
of them will go to the website, even seeing you have online booking, and still call you. So
Well, I
it's,
was about to say, I get that all the time, honestly. They're
yeah.
like, "Hey, I
Well,
was on your website doing online booking. What about this?" I'm like, "You could
My
have
fa-
just hit
my favorite
send."
are the people that call and ask for a quote, and then if the number's higher, because like I'm factoring in, something they said or a distance or something
Mhm.
along those lines. Well, I see on your website, it's like
Exactly.
just
Why? Why'd you
hit the
call?
button, hit the
Just
button.
hit.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
I
get
tell,
that
and
quite
I,
often.
this is kind of how I sold you on the idea. It's like if you can get one booking a month that you
Mhm.
didn't talk to that person at all before they book, they pay for your month upgrade to have
Yeah,
online booking. And
yeah,
that conversation is only going to get progressively more and more as you go and as time goes, because we, the customer side, are trained to want things right now.
yeah.
And if I talk to my wife at 10:30 at night and she says, "Hey, we need to get that garage cleaned out." Right now I'm thinking about, let's get that garage cleaned out. I am going
Mhm.
to do my research, and if someone at 10:30 at night has, this is the dumpster, this is the price, this is what's included, book now, that's the person that I want to book with, because I will pay you the extra $20 to know that I just ordered the dumpster and it's going to happen. And if I forget to get it done in the first half of tomorrow, I'm a half a day, further along in the process and
Yeah,
things are going on, not waiting to remember to call you to get a price I want, even if it's not delivered now, I want answer and resolution right now. And I think that's kind of the direction of all industry for the most part, but service-based industry especially is working in that direction, following the Amazon model, and I think it's a
yeah.
great way to go.
I mean, I see people on my website. I mean, all times throughout the night. So I mean, it's people are when they can't call you, they can at least get online and book it.
Yeah, yeah, I would say if you're in the dumpster business, on the fence about jumping into a software like Docket, for example, Docket being the favorite of myself and Clay,
Yeah,
go check it out. It's free to check it out. It does obviously cost you a little more than Notepad, but the reality is, if you are trying to pinch every penny on the planet and costing yourself hours of extra time every month, you are only beating yourself over the head and not being as efficient as you could be. The whole point of being an entrepreneur is to free yourself, and when you're chaining yourself to inefficiencies, you are not freeing yourself, you're just changing your shackles. So,
I'll add to the benefit of it. Notepad versus software, whatever software you use. I use Docket. You can send the contracts with your invoice, or without your invoice, however you want to do it. They have to accept and sign it, and you got legal documentation that they accepted everything. I've only had one dispute this whole time, and I won the dispute because I had all the paperwork for it.
I've had
So
5, and I have
yeah,
won all 5.
yeah,
So,
and it's
yeah,
all because you have it documented electronically. You have their signatures.
I take
Um,
my pictures, I text communicate all the important aspects that might become gray area. It's like there's more than just have the software and you win dispute. Like you do have to do the extra work to go with it, but
yeah,
having something that puts it all in one place makes it nice and easy. I had one guy dispute a charge 2.5, 3 months after it was because I think you have 90 days to do it. He must
yeah,
have been like right around 2.5 months after the job.
hmm,
And, it's like, did you save receipts and this? Well, when you upload it into your software, it's right below your contract, which here's your signature. Here's the pictures of the dumpster there. Here's the
yeah,
pictures of the dump receipts. Pull up the file, click export or print or whatever, and send it off. It's like that's a pretty easy case to win. So do the right
yeah,
things, get a software, puts it all in one place. Life is good.
yep,
So I will wrap it up there. I greatly appreciate you coming on. It's great to hear from your
yep.
perspective. Great to see you doing good, brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. If anyone out there needs to get a hold of you, what is the best way to get a hold of Hickory Dumpsters and Clay Lane?
You can find us on Facebook or you can email us or call us 430-307-7353.
I pushed him to start an Instagram, so
Yeah, I do have an Instagram.
it exists, but he's better on the
Yeah,
Facebook side of things. So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. By the way, that's still not, I can't get those things to work, man. I have to copy it and igram it and put it on Facebook. I can't get those to connect. I don't know what it
yeah,
is.
do not reach out to him on Instagram. He will not see it for 6 months. It sounds like. But we'll get you dialed in. I'm sure we'll figure out how to do the cross posting. If anyone knows how to, I don't know why mine just shows it, but
Mine
Clay
shows it's
is
all connected.
hoping
It
to
just won't do
upload
it.
a video to Instagram and have it cross share to Facebook and or Threads if he wants to start one of those accounts. If you know how to do that, reach out to Clay via phone or his Facebook page.
Yep.
And with that said, thank you very much for joining me, brother. You guys all have a great one. Hope you enjoyed the podcast.